glad you're joining us today. How many of you have an activity where you have a coach or someone who teaches you? We've all had teachers and coaches. When we participate in a group activity or a game, we need to listen closely to that coach so we know where to go and what to do. And following teachers' instructions on an assignment helps us know how to complete the assignment and learn that new skill. All of these things require for us to know the voices of those that we want to follow and listen so that we can do the right thing. We all need to hear the voices of the ones that can help us be better and do the right thing. The hard part is waiting and really tuning in to the right voice. Today we're going to be learning that because of Jesus, God knows me and he talks to me. Today's Bible story is about a young boy named Samuel who lived in the temple under the supervision of the prophet Eli. Today we're going to read about how Samuel learned to hear the right voice in his life. We find the story in 1 Samuel chapter 3, verses 3 through 10. Let's read that together. The boy Samuel served the Lord under the direction of Eli. In those days, the Lord didn't give many messages to his people. He didn't give them many visions. One night, Eli was lying down in his usual place. His eyes were becoming so weak, he couldn't see very well. Samuel was lying down in the Lord's house. That's where the ark of God was kept. The lamp of God was still burning. The Lord called out to Samuel. Samuel answered, "Here I am." And he ran over to Eli and said, "Here I am, you called out to me?" But Eli said, "I didn't call you. Go back and lie down." So he went and lay down. Again the Lord called out, "Samuel." Samuel got up and went to Eli, and he said, "Here I am. You called out to me." "My son," Eli said, "I didn't call you. Go back and lie down." Samuel didn't know the Lord yet. That's because the Lord still hadn't given him a message. The Lord called out for a third time, and he said, "Samuel." Samuel got up and went to Eli, and he said, "Here I am. You called out to me?" And then Eli realized that the Lord was calling the boy. So Eli told Samuel, "Go and lie down, and if someone calls out to you again, say, 'Speak, Lord, I am listening.'" So Samuel went and lay down in his place, and the Lord came and stood there. He called out just as he had done the other times, and he said, "Samuel, Samuel." Then Samuel replied, "Speak, I am listening." Samuel heard God's voice for the first time, but he didn't recognize it, so he was wise to go to Eli. Eli then instructed him the third time what to do when he heard the Lord's voice again, and Samuel obeyed. Samuel then responded to the Lord by saying, "Speak, I'm listening." Samuel's willingness to listen allowed God to speak to him, and God changed his life. The first times the Lord called, Samuel didn't respond because he didn't know it was the Lord calling. But once he knew it was God, he immediately responded and was willing to listen and obey whatever the Lord wanted him to do. From that night on, Samuel became God's faithful listener. He chose to listen to the Lord in every area of his life. Whenever God spoke, Samuel paid attention and obeyed, even when it was really difficult. He learned that God knew him intimately, his hopes and fears and dreams, and because he chose to be very honest with God. And God didn't just know Samuel, he talked to him, guiding him through life's challenges. Samuel grew into a wise prophet, and he received divine messages and conveyed God's will to the people. Samuel also anointed both Saul and David as kings, which shaped Israel's monarchy. His discernment in choosing leaders influenced that nation's destiny. Samuel's story inspires us to listen to God's voice and to follow his guidance in our own lives. And just as Samuel listened to God and his life was changed completely, our lives can change for the better if we choose to listen to God's voice and ask him for his guidance in every single area of our lives. God knew Eli and Samuel just the way that he knows us. But the difference between Eli and Samuel is that they had to perform sacrifices and follow God's commandments in order to be right and hear his voice. But we don't have to do that. Because of Jesus, we can hear God without having to sacrifice a lamb. Instead, Jesus became that lamb that was sacrificed for all of us, once and for all, dying on the cross. And that is the reason why we can talk to God all the time. Today, we can have a relationship with God because of Jesus and only through Jesus. So because of Jesus, God knows me and he wants to talk to me. Remember to be obedient to the right voices in your life, like your parents and leaders, and of course, God and what he's saying to you. You can always talk to God, anytime. Prayer is our gift, and that's how we can talk to God. That's all prayer is just having a conversation and talking to God. So our key point today is that God knows me and he talks to me. Our memory verse this month says this: "O Lord, you have examined my heart and know everything about me. You know when I sit down or stand up. You know my thoughts even when I'm far away." Psalm 139, 1-2. Remember, just like Samuel, we can listen for God's voice in our lives. He knows us intimately, and his communication is personal. Whether through prayer or scripture or quiet moments, God speaks to each and every one of us.